Hello, and welcome to the Fat Squirrel Speaks. Today is Tuesday, January 27th. Happy birthday, Amanda, who's been my friend since I was in high school. We've known each other longer than we haven't. She's not watching, but I'm putting it into the universe. Hi, how are you? This is episode 130. Yeah. I'm Amy Beth, also known as the Fat Squirrel on Ravelry, and the Fat Squirrel SQRRL on Instagram. That's me! How are you? Oh, I should say what I'm doing. Wearing something. Meep. I am wearing a Ricky hat, R-I-K-K-E. It is knit with Leading Men Fiber Arts in their Dramaturge base. And this is the Into the Woods colorway. And I am wearing, you can only see the top part, but whatever, I'm not going to stand up. I'm wearing a bra. Like I have to tell you because I'm proud of myself. Yay, I'm wearing pants and a bra. I am wearing my Irish coffee, and it is knit with Quince and Company Lark in the Marsh colorway. Those are the things I'm doing. Okay. So this week we have spinning and knitting and shameless self-promotion. Shenanigans. It's January still. We went for a hike. I say hike, but we went for a walk. We did some other stuff. Nothing particularly exciting happened. We got very muddy. That's always good, right? Had the playground to ourselves because there's nobody there in January. Oh, it was like 40 degrees. Why are people outside? Okay, maybe it was not quite 40 degrees. My husband was like, you're crazy. It's not 40 degrees. I was like, the weather said it was going to be 40 degrees. He's like, maybe not now, though. Because it was also very windy. But still, it wasn't like it was terrible. Because outside. Breathe the air. Get the vitamin D. That's all I'm saying. So I think those are all the things we did. Yeah, pretty much. We ate some soup. That's it. So let's talk about knitting and spinning, shall we? Today might be a slightly more technically heavy episode than usual. Not technically, like as in challenging technically, but just more in the... I happen to have two projects that I need to talk a little bit. I'm sorry, I have like a hair in my... I have hair in my eyeball. It's not in my eyeball, but it's across my eyeball. Composed and back together with you. So let's start talking then. Okay, let's talk about spinning. So I'll talk about this little tiny thing first because it's easy to talk about. I told you last week that I was working on some hobbledehoy batlings, and this is the first one that I did. It's really basic. It's just like a little chain ply, fingering weight. It's like a less than an ounce by far. What is it? Like a tenth of an ounce or something? Fifth of an ounce. But I'm very excited about how it turned out, so I'm excited to do the rest of those. I believe that was the geranium colorway. It actually is a pretty balanced yarn. When I unflung it, you might have noticed, I don't know if you did or not, that it had a little twist in the skein, but that's primarily from this insanity of me. I could have just made smaller skeins, it would have made more sense, but whatever. There's that. And that's been fun. That's a fun little project, right? Then the other thing that I finished, I have mixed feelings about, I'm going to be honest. I was working on some Tunis, American Tunis, I assume it's American Tunis, from Gnome Spun. And I got this at Rhinebeck in 2013. It's Rhinebeck 2013. Tunis, this is the first time I've ever spun. This is the first time I've ever spun Tunis. This is the little Tunis sheep. Hey, Mr. Tunis, what's up? And this is the Field Guide to Fleece by Deborah Robson and Carol Acarius. I'm sure I'm saying that incorrectly. But the Tunis is a very historical breed. It's one that was raised by like George Washington and Thomas Jefferson. It is a dual-purpose sheep. It's usually exhibited as a meat sheep, it said. But it's a fat-tailed sheep. So it's known for being delicious. And in fact was recognized, I read somewhere in one of these 3 options, that it was recognized by Slow Food as like the Ark of Taste. So that's the land of the animals that are, or products or resources that are endangered and have an interesting flavor profile. But anyway, so there it is, the American Tunis. Hey, what's up? And it is its own breed now. It originally came from Tunis, but it is its own American Tunis breed. And it says it probably has some Southdown and some Leicester in there somewhere. It's considered a general purpose wool. It is crispy. So if you don't like the crispy feel of some wools, I never thought about this, but it said it's actually good for lace in some ways because it is crispy. It will hold lace open. I never thought about that. Because you always think of lace as being softish. Isn't that interesting? I like that thought. Isn't that interesting? I thought so. So you can see it. It's just like a little short, blocky staple. Fun. So there's that one. The big dude, the mama of that one, has essentially the same information. It just has some more pictures about samples spun with Tunis and what the locks might look like. Things of that nature. And then I looked at the Spinner's Book of Fleece as well. This is a newer to me book. And there's a lot more information about different sampling techniques for the Tunis and what it looks like in different preparations and different... it's still the same Tunis picture. Stock Tunis picture. Different preparations in terms of like carded versus flicked versus combed and all that good stuff. And so you get lots of good yarn porn. Because who doesn't love that? I know I do. So I won't go into great detail about what's in that one because it kind of is specific to different preparations, but very cool. Just to kind of see what different books offer for the same breed. So give you different resources, an idea of which one might work best for you. Okay, so that is the fleece, the wool. The other thing that I did differently with this, so this is a new to me fiber, and then I did a new to me technique. Not always the best combination. You should probably have some sort of baseline of what it is in like a standard technique for you, but whatever, go crazy. I thought that I wanted this to be socks. So I decided, I had read quite a while back in the Spinner's Book of Yarn Designs by Sarah Anderson. I had read quite a bit back about some opposing plying techniques and how they worked for socks. Sorry, left and right is still very confusing. And what that is, basically, here you can see right here. Well, you can't really see, but I can show you at least in theory. This is a 3-ply yarn, and so what I did was I spun 2 singles in the S direction, and then 1 single in the Z direction. Right? No, other way. 2 in the Z, 1 in the S, plied in the S. So basically, 2 the normal way, and 1 the opposite way. And then I plied opposite, like counterclockwise. 2 clockwise, 1 counterclockwise, plied counterclockwise. So what happens is, in theory, is that ply that is the oddball one, okay? So that S ply, or that Z ply that's not, it's a counter ply. It's supposed to give more energy and therefore pull the yarn up in on itself a little bit, give it a little bit more elasticity, which might make it better for sock yarn, right? The other thing that happened is that she did a sample, and I believe it was like a merino silk blend or something like that, for 3-ply. And you can see this is the one with the opposing ply, and then the other one, oh my gosh, left and right, why are you so confusing? This one, you see a tiny little hole, is a traditional 3-ply. And then this one over here, without a tiny little hole, is the one that she did with the opposing ply technique. Interesting, right? Who knows? Might make it a firmer yarn because that other guy's in there shrunk up on himself. Who knows? But it's very interesting all the same, right? So we'll see how that goes. I did not get a ton of yardage. This was a 4-ounce bump, and I think I only got about 240 yards. It's more like it's like a sport weight. It's about 22 wraps per inch. So I didn't get as much yardage as I thought I would get. That's okay. They can be like shorty socks or house slippery socks. I don't think I put any more twist in either the singles or the, and I did spin this mostly worsted. So there it is up close. I'm assuming because of the opposing plied yarn, it did have a lot more energy in this skein. And in fact, here you can see one right there. See how it's like wanting to make love to itself? Oh, now it's not going to do it. So it lost a little bit of that energy in the soaking. But even then, when I hung it to dry, it was like a little bit like... So I did put a hanger, an empty hanger on the bottom of it just to give it a little bit more weight. So it is kind of a weighted, it is essentially a blocked skein. Not heavily, but a little bit. So we'll see how it goes. You can see there's some crimpiness still. So we'll see. It's definitely crisp. That's not your thing. Some people do not. I am kind of like on the fence about that texture. I think I'm okay with it. I don't know that I would want it, crunchy is another word. I don't know that I would want it necessarily right next to like my face, but it would be fine for me on hands and feet, even arms and stuff, but neck would probably be a little bit too abrasive for me. But I have a higher wool tolerance than some people. If you only like Malabrigo, say no. So yay, there's that. So again, I'm overall, I think I'm okay with it. I'm just a little bit disappointed about the yardage. Which is not a big deal. Just a little bit. So yay that. Okay. So that's all the spinning that's going on. Again, I am still working on those hobbledehoy ones. And then the next thing I have to talk about, I was like, oh my gosh, I don't have any finished objects. Oh wait, except that whole sweater I finished. Shush. That's right. Finished my kiddo's sweater. Oh my gosh, by the way, she's so much trouble. She is in 2nd grade and she's made it this far. I would knock on wood, except it doesn't even count anymore. Why is this here? There's a Henspun by Stefania receipt from 2012 on my husband's table. Yeah, where did that come from? He was probably like, what is this? I'll save this and ask for her. Anyway. Oh, she's in 2nd grade. So she's made it through 2.5 years of public school and has never lost a knitted garment. I've made her, well, not that she's had a ton, but she had like a sweater that she wore almost every day. And she's had multiple hats and gloves, of course. Never lost anything. Since Christmas break, so that's been like 3 weeks, 2.5 weeks. Since then, she has lost her felted mittens that I made her. She has lost a store-bought zip-up hoodie-ish thing. And a handmade sweater that she's had since last year. What happened? I know, right? I told her today I was very serious and said, I'm kind of a mean mother. I really need to work on that. You're like, no, you're not. I actually am. I need to work on it. Oh, it's one of my bad faults. I'm just stern. Maybe more so than it should be. But I was like, dude, your task for the day is to try to find one of the 3 lost items. What's going on all of a sudden? Flip into the ether. Totally disappointed. So anyway, so this one I was like, dude, I'm finishing this sweater for you, but you're not allowed to take it to school if you're just going to like throw it into the air. Shake it like you just don't care. I'm just saying, don't do that. So I'm going to have to like put in the mitten clips that you had for your jacket. I'll have to do that with the sweater. Then I'll have to like actually attach it to her body, which probably wouldn't work. But you know, whatever. A mother can dream. So I finished her little red sweater. This is based mostly on Ann Budd's book of top-down sweaters. It's technically the Knitter's Handy Book of top-down sweaters. If you don't know what this is, sometimes I forget that not all of you have been knitting for 15 years. Some of you are new knitters, and you probably don't know what I'm talking about when I say, oh, you know, Ann Budd's book of top-down sweaters. It is an excellent reference, especially if you are making sweater, if you are willing to kind of go outside the box on your own sweater designs. For example, this one has raglans, it has yokes, it has set-in sleeves, it has saddle shoulders. And then those are sized in anywhere from child to adult. And I believe the adult measurements are often, yes, 54 inches for a chest circumference. So the adults go up from 36 inches to 54 inches. And the children's measurements go from 26 to 34. So, you know, if you're a smaller bust than 34, you can bust down into the children's and just use the length or the height measurements. Length would be the correct word for the adult sizing. So each kind of, again, raglan, yoke, whatever. You get good diagrams for each one to show you all the measurements broken down. Right. And then what you have here, this is, for example, the adult's basic adult for the raglan. So you'll see across here you have your measurements, right? Your 36 to 54. And what you have along here is your gauge. So anywhere from 3 stitches to the inch down to 7 stitches to the inch. So you just find your gauge. For example, I'm going to do 5 stitches to the inch. And then I go across 46. So I need to have 1,480 yards about. And there's meters as well. So, and that's your yardage requirement. And then each pattern is the same thing. You know, okay, I have 5 stitches to the inch, and I'm doing a size 46. I need 60 stitches to cast on. So, very handy book. Especially if you're knitting for kids, I think, and maybe in-betweens, you know, adult or men. There are more men's patterns than there used to be, but still, they're a little bit more sparse. But, you know, women's patterns, pretty easy to come by and try to and find something you like. Not always, but generally you got a lot more chance. Kids, especially when you're talking about she's an 8 and she wears like a size 12, 10, 12-ish. Especially when it's like not a little kid, yet not a woman. That size pattern can be very challenging to find. A lot of times the kids' patterns only go up to like an 8, and yet a woman's pattern might start at a 34-inch bust. And so technically that would kind of fit her, but then the lengths are off. So this is a good reference for good lengths, especially if you're knitting for somebody who's not available to you to measure. A lot of me talking, wasn't it? It totally was. So that said, this is a top-down raglan and just has a 1x1 rib because she likes to have a collar that will stand up for her neck to keep her neck warm. So if she wants to unzip it, it looks like that. This is a Hugs and Kisses cable pattern. It's free on the internet. You can just search Hugs and Kisses cable pattern. And for example, like Lion, I think, has one that's charted out for you. So yeah, did I say it's Quince & Company Lark in the, is it Pippin? I think it's the Pippin colorway. And then, let's see, what else do you need to know? I think that's all you need to know, right? Totally. Zippers. So she wanted a zipper, and even though I do not like to put zippers in, they do make something very wearable. I don't know what it is. I know it doesn't make sense, but I don't know what it is about the zipper, but it does make it more wearable somehow. I'm not judging, I'm just saying. So she wanted a zipper, which I was fine with. I got this zipper. This is a YKK 30-inch zipper, I think. I got it from Zipper Stop. Zipper Stop, you can find, it's just like Zipper Stop. No, that's my normal zipper place, right? Suddenly I can't remember. Sorry. Let me just look really quickly. Is it Zipper Stop? I believe Zipper Stop is the one that does all of the crazy custom sweater or zippers. And I believe that's correct. We're going to find out real quick. So you can find them on Etsy and eBay, but you can also find them at zipperstop.com. And zipperstop.com is where you want to go if you have a very specific sweater or very specific zipper that you're in need of. In terms of, lots of time on Etsy and eBay, they only have like black and white and really basic colors. Or sometimes they only have closed-in zippers that you would use for like crafting projects more so. Versus the separating zipper, which is one that completely opens up. So in the past, I've ordered zippers from them. Oh, I'm sitting behind right now. I've ordered zippers for them. For example, this is my husband's cardigan, and he is 6'4", so it's kind of a longish sweater. But he wanted the, actually, I don't know that he really wanted it, but he wanted the two-way separating zipper. So zipper stop, and look at that, it's a pretty good color match. It's hard to tell on, you know, because it's just an internet site. It's sometimes hard to tell. And the shipping, I believe as long as you order like less, I mean, I think I ordered 8 or 9 zippers and it was still $5 for the shipping. So just order a couple. If you're not sure about the color, just order a couple. It won't hurt. You'll use that zipper somewhere. I think the zippers are like $3 the most. So, you know, in comparison to your yarn costs, that's nothing. So anyway, so they're a great resource for funky zippers. For this one, it's not like I needed a funky zipper, but I did need a longer zipper. I think it's 24 inches or something like that. I believe it was 24 inches. And she did not want the really thick plastic zipper like those. She wanted more of a coil zipper, which is like this. I know, right? My 8-year-old really prefers coil zippers. So I got this one from them. Because most, like Joann's, if you're looking for a long zipper, a lot of times they're like the parka zippers, which are those really heavy, clunky zippers. So if you don't want that clunkiness, then don't. There you go. Okay, there's a lot of me talking. So lately I've been obsessed with the idea of doing bias tape along the edge of sweaters. Is this a thing? I know I didn't invent it. Like I know that it's out there and I'm just not seeing it anywhere. But what I really wanted to do was do a bias tape edging on her zipper or on her sweater, like on the knitted portion. Maybe not. This is a 2-inch strip put down into 1/2-inch bias tape. It's really not bias tape because it's not cut on the bias, but just go with me on this one. But what I really wanted to do, and again, that might need like a 1-inch versus a 1/2-inch, probably be better. Although on a kid sweater, I don't know. I really wanted to do that. I really wanted to encase the edge of the sweater in this bias tape because sometimes she has a little bit of trouble with the wool getting caught in the zipper teeth. I think I sewed this one far enough away. And again, with the coil zipper, it's a little bit easier. It's not as likely to get caught in the coil zipper as it is in those plastic zippers. I don't know what they're called versus coil. Just go with me. And I think I got this one sewn far enough away. See, there's a good 1/4 inch probably between. So even if it pushes over, I think it's still safe. But I think that would be so cute to encase the edge of the sweater in the bias tape. Then you would have a great, like when you sew the zipper on, it would be super awesome because it would never get caught in there. So then there's that. So that was my original. I did not do it because this is a uniform sweater and I was afraid that they would say that that was considered print and they would not let her wear it to school. So that's my idea number 1. My idea number 2, which I didn't do, instead of doing ribbon on the inside, because again, this is a utilitarian sweater. And quite frankly, I was afraid it would add too much bulk, but it wouldn't have. This would have been totally fine. My other idea was to go in on the inside and put the bias tape on the inside of the zipper. Right on the other edge of the zipper and sew that down. Like before you sew the zipper in. So it'd be like having the finishing beautifulness of the ribbon without the pain of the re-sewing. Not that it's that hard, but you know, it's another finishing step, which not always my favorite. But so wouldn't that be cute? You could do that on the inside. I think what I'm going to do for myself is, it's not in the queue yet, but it is in the queue, but it's like 4th in the queue for sweaters, maybe 3rd. I think what I want to do is make myself a very utilitarian, very useful Quince & Company Sport Weight zipper cardigan and steek it and use the bias tape to cover the steek. I know, right? Because if you're putting a zipper in it, it doesn't matter if you lose a little elasticity because the zipper's rigid anyway. Bam. Right? They could be super cute. You could have a really, either you could just do subtle or you could do jazzy. You could do a jazzy bias tape along your, to steek your edge of your sweater. Do you think that's too crazy? Of course it's not too crazy. I'm crazy. That's my new idea. I want to do it all the things. I want to make the asymmetrical sweater, steek that dude, and put the bias tape on the edge of that. Basically, I just want to steek everything because I hate knitting flat. I'm lazy. I hate to purl. And I'm like, ooh, that would be so fun. It would just look, if in my head, and only in my head perhaps, it's looking very cute. Because again, you don't have that like raw edge that you have to then cover up and like mess, you have to fold things over and stitch them down and then you gotta cover the thing up and you would just be like, zoop, put the thing on, doom, done. Doesn't that sound sexy? It does, doesn't it? Okay. Sorry, that was an aside. But what I did do is just a little something. This zipper only came in a 30-inch length. That came in like a very few lengths. And Zipper Stop will often make you a custom shorter zipper, but there's no need to do that in my mind. What I normally do, back. What I normally do, you can see it on my husband's sweater. This zipper was also longer. You can just cut the teeth out of the last little bit. See that? See, there's the zipper tape, but no teeth. And then you can just use your machine or by hand probably, especially in these thick zippers. But by hand, just stitch over this like a bunch of times. Stitch. And it will keep the zipper from going further than that. So on the kiddos, what I decided to do though, because again, I was obsessed with this silly bias tape idea. Right? Out of control. Where did I put the, oh, there it is. So again, that's what bias tape looks like. Again, it's not really bias because it's not cut on the bias, but you know what I mean. Oh, so what I did was I used this to cover the ends of the zipper where I trimmed the zipper because the zipper was like 30 inches. So I trimmed the zipper and then just used the tape to cover the end like that. So it looks like that. Isn't that cute? Ta-da! So for that, what I did is I made the bias tape like this. So I just made it single fold versus double fold. And then I'll do it big style for you. And then I pressed it essentially like that. And then did that and then sewed over here like the zipper's hanging down here. Ta-da! So that's what you do if you have a zipper that's too long. See, we've talked about all the things, right? We've talked about modular patterns. We've talked about zippers. I really should have saved these for different episodes, but I needed to show you the sweater today because she'll want to wear it. Tomorrow, if I don't get the thing written in blood, though, that she won't lose it. I might need something written in blood. So there's that. Okay, so then let's talk about works in progress. I'm looking at time. Okay, I'll show you this thing that I've already showed you, and I'm trying not to show you things in the middle, but I love it so much. This is the 3-color cowl. 3-color cashmere cowl. I apologize. This is the 3-color, and by the way, I'm so into stripiness right now. It's out of control. Want to make stripy sweaters, want to make stripy hats, stripy socks. It's a thing. So this is the 3-color cashmere cowl by Miss Locatelli. I had to show you because I added the 3rd color. Now, mine is technically a 4-color super baby alpaca cowl. So it's not exactly as written. It's fingering. This is DK. And again, I have 4 colors instead of 3, but they all live together and I wanted them to continue to live together. So I had a little bit of like, I just forged ahead, even though like my gauge was totally different. I mean, I figured out that I needed to make it less stitches and I figured out how many less stitches. But in terms of like vertical gauge, row gauge, just going with it. So I made it shorter than I really should have. Like I overcompensated for my row gauge. So, and again, the fact that I have 3 colors instead of 4, I made these stripes narrower And I only did 3 of them instead of 4 as written in the pattern. And you can see that by just looking at the pattern, not giving anything away. By looking at the Ravelry page, you can see even how many stripes there are. So I realized, like, after I got done with the striping sequence, like, oops, I made it too short. So then I had to add in an extra striping sequence, which I kind of dig. And now I'm about to start the main use of this pollen color. So soft. That you can see the seam there. That's the back. And that's my stitch marker from. Oh my god. Oh my god, I can't think. She does the bag subscription club. Oh my gosh, why can I not think of her name all of a sudden? You're telling me, right? You know, right? She does the bag subscriptions where you can get like coffee and tea for 3 months. You get coffee and tea, you get matching stitch markers and things. I'm so sorry. Thank you. I can't remember what your bag is called. Dang it! Okay, that was useless. I was trying to plug her, and in fact, maybe it'll be more advertisement because people will be like, I don't know, what is her name? I'm gonna go find it. It was all a plan. I haven't really forgotten. It's all a plan. So anyway, I love it so much. It's like it's the ration knitting. Do you have ration knitting? It's the ooh, can't knit too much. Oh, slow down, slow down, slow down, slow down. It's that knitting. So it's Shibi, whatever. And this is the Maai colorway. Right there. M-A-A-I. There we go. And I'll have the colorways on show notes if you are interested. Ta-da! I know, right? It's driving me crazy. But anyway, so do you do that too, where you have rationed knitting? It's kind of fun. Lots of times I do hats that way, because I'm afraid that if I don't, I will just knit them all and never get anything else done because I'm like, oh. Speaking of hats, somebody on the board, I apologize, I can't remember who, asked me like what I do with all the hats that I knit. Whether I just like hoard them like a nasty dragon. She didn't say that. I do like that idea though. What I do is, no, that's not right. I about said the wrong thing. That's not right. Anyway, what I do is usually I keep them, all the hats I knit in the year, I usually keep. And then at the end of the year, I purge out. I only keep a few that are really what's the most important to me. So usually I'll get rid of quite a few. And the way I get rid of them is either I give them to my mom. She usually will take them all. And hopefully she's putting them into the world in some useful way. Or I'll just donate them to there's a local charity that does hats for the homeless. And they don't care if they're superwash or not. Or what they are. So yeah. That's what I do. But usually I do really keep quite a few in rotation. And I do wear hats a lot. Now this year it has not been as cold as it was last year. Last year was so cold that I wore a hat almost every day. It was a little bit ridiculous. I'm not going to lie. But yeah. There it is. Bling your string! Oh my gosh. How did I forget that? So that stitch marker was by Bling Your String. Thanks, Erin. But yeah, I do wear hats quite a bit in the winter. I'll show you that next time because I'm not that far ahead. Okay, the other thing I'm going to show you is the new thing I've started. And this is a sweater pattern that I've been wanting to knit for quite some time. Well, it's been in the queue for quite some time. And I decided that I was going to make it with Quince and Company Lark because I just made this one, so I figured, heck, I already got a gauge swatch. And by the way, the gauge measurement on the flat knitting versus the circular knitting is so different. So I had a gauge swatch there. Again, it's a sleeve. It's not exactly perfect, but whatever. I am knitting, this is from the Rhinebeck sweater book. This is Duchess by Cheryl Burke. And there is her beautiful face. I'm knitting mine with Quince & Company. Lark, again, in the Fjord color. That's the main color. And then Twig is the secondary color. Because I'm in love with brown and blue. I don't know what's going on. I'm also knitting this on US 4s as I knit the others, as I knit that sweater. Because that's why it's a gauge swatch. Otherwise, that wouldn't make much sense with it. And I don't have much done, but here I have this much done. So this is what she's called, and I'm sure is what the standard name for it is, a cartridge ribbing. Oh my gosh, such a pain in the neck. Not that it's hard at all. It's just knits and purls. There's nothing weird happening. But I had the hardest try because it's like a 3x2 and then a 4x1, and that's just where they're staggered. And so you can't just get into like a 2-2-2-2 1-1-1-1. It's, I remember 3-2 3-2 3-2. And then I would do like 3 of the wrong thing, and then ridiculous. But anyway, so that's how much I have. Not much. I am doing this. The pattern has waist shaping. It has a good diagram. It does have a diagram, right? I'm not lying. Yes, it does. It has a diagram. I'm showing you quickly, just so you can see this there. Good schematic. What else do I need to say? Seems to be very clear. Nice one. It has waist shaping. But I'm doing my waist shaping a la Amy Herzog. Instead of doing it along the side seams, I'm going to do the hip to waist shaping in the back, and then the bust shaping in the front. So that's the only difference. Okay. And essentially what I'm doing is also, I think she sometimes calls it her Franken sweater. I'm doing like, okay, for the hips, I'm casting on size 57. For the waist, I'm casting, and then I need to decrease to the waist size of 50, or measurement of 50. And then the bust, I need to have at X, etc. So, and what I'm planning to do is -2 inches ease on hips and bust, +2 on waist. That's what I usually do. Some people are like, negative hips on the negative hip ease on your hips. It's really just so your sweater doesn't flare and bell out. Amy Herzog told me that. Okay, so now it's time for shameless self-promotion. It's totally shameless, although kind of a little bit it is. So if you're not interested, I'll see you next time. Bye. This update is planned for January 30th. However, it may be postponed until February 6th. I am waiting on a supply, and I'm not sure what's going to get here. So hopefully it'll be January 30th. If not, it'll be the next Friday, February 6th. In the lines of shameless self-promotion, I hope to have Knitting Pipeline commemorative bag pre-orders up on Valentine's Day, so February 14th, and they'll usually be up for 2 or 3 days, maybe 4, depending on the other update schedules. So that'll go up on Valentine's Day if you're interested, if you're attending the Knitting Pipeline Retreat and you would like a bag. Oh my gosh, I gotta order tags. What the heck? I just remembered. Anyway, let's go back to this one. Okay, so we have sock size and foxes. So that's my sock size bag. The lining is feathers. Oh, shh, the fox did not eat the birds. Maybe they did. I just made that connection. So you got foxes on the outside and birds and feathers on the inside. These will all have handles. I'm just not to handle place yet. That's one of the things I'm waiting on. So then we have, this is called My Small Wedge, and this is the Cardinals. The exterior on all of these is organic cotton. The interior is just my standard unbleached drill, which is not, except for this one, which is organic interior and exterior. But it's just the unbleached drill on the interior of the bigger bags. So again, these will all have handles. Will I be taking any of these to the Pipeline Retreat? I will have a few of these, and I think I'll have a few of these, and then I have a few more that are coming in. The ones that are coming in are going to be the canvas, though, instead of the cotton. These are interfaced cotton. It's interfaced quilter's cotton. FYI, if you are ordering these, I want you to know that I do my best. These fabrics are a pain to work with. I don't know what it is about the organics. So he said it's because the sizing is different. It's just a different material base, and it has imperfections in it, and then it sometimes does not like to adhere to the interfacing in the most crisp way. So I do my very, very best, but some of these bags may have small imperfections. For example, I'm looking right now, and I just saw it. This one has a very small, I don't know if you can even see it. I did see it, and now I don't. Okay, there we go. It was just the angle, I guess. Oh, yeah, see? That's what I'm talking about. This one has a little tiny mark on it, but you can only see it from one direction. See? Like, what am I... It's a tiny little mark right there. So anyway, so there's tiny... You know, there might be just a little... You can see right here, there's a little bit of rimpling that may or may not come out in the ironing process. I do my very best. They are not that anything I ever do is perfect, but you know what I mean. Just be aware. If you are like super, super duper anal, maybe skip this one. They are nothing, obviously, that I'm unwilling to sell. I would buy any of these from another vendor and be completely happy with them. So I'm very conscious of that. I like to sleep at night, people. So I'm very conscious of that. And if, of course, as always, if you have any problem with something you receive, let me know and we'll take care of it. But just, yeah, I do my best. So this is the Barn Swallows. These are all, of course, the Charlie Harper bags. Right. Oh, I love them so much. That one is also available in sweater size. So if you need a bigger bag. I'll do this one too, Susie. The little owls, little mama owl. Do you see her? Right there, right there. See, she's a mama owl. She's got 2 babies. And then also polka dots. I love this color scheme so much. So there's her. And then she's also available in a sweater bag. Oh, it's like such a pain to work with this fabric, but then I make them and I'm like, I'm going to keep them all! Oh, and here's some chickadees. Aren't they fun? Hey, little chickadees, what's up? And then we have some nuthatches. These are, the majority of these are large wedges. I'm sorry, the ones I'm showing you, I will tell you if it's not. So we have some nuthatches. Okay. And then we have some nuthatches and woodpeckers. Yay! So that's those. Again, hopefully those will be up January 30th. If not, they will be up February 6th. And then I think that's all. I hope you have a lovely week, and I will talk next time. Bye!